Hey, how's it going? My name's Neil. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to change my trucks. I think changing your trucks is probably one of the most unwanted things a skateboarder does. You know, you get used to your trucks, how tight they are, how worn they are. And so most people are pretty reluctant to change them, apart from the people that sort of seem to be building a new board every week, perhaps. But yeah, when I get my trucks how I like them, I don't like to change them. And the only reason I usually change them is because they get too worn down. They are kind of in that state at the moment. They are really worn, and I will show you. I don't know if this comes out very well on the camera, but I can do some close-ups. That's the front one. It's got some hefty groove damage there. I'm pretty much through to the axles. And then the back one, much the same, if not worse. So yeah, very heavily worn. And I don't know if you can see that kind of dark patch there, that bit, that's the axle. Now, they have some mileage left in them, but actually recently I've been experiencing some quite annoying behavior by them being so worn. And it tends to be that because there's so much flat on there now, and the coping on the mini ramp that I skate most often is kind of grippy, like it's a really old ramp, and the kind of galvanized coating that is usually on the scaffolding bars that are used for coping seems to have completely worn away. And so it's really gripping if I try to grind, if I do a 50-50 grind or any other grind, it's really grippy. And I don't like wax very much, and some people, they put some wax on their trucks, and I tried this the other day and obviously it made a huge difference to skating them dry, but I don't like to wax things, and I can just feel like the trucks are dragging because they're so worn. So I had an opportunity to get some new trucks, and I've already got lots of spare pairs of trucks, or a few spare pairs of trucks. I usually skate independent trucks as well, and I have an opportunity to try out some Slappy trucks, which to my best knowledge, they were kind of loosely based on the design of indies in one way or another. And so they are apparently very similar. They're supposed to skate like indies. But the big redeeming factor is that they have much lower kingpin clearance. That's not usually a big deal to me because, as you see, I change out my kingpins. These kingpins are some old stock Grind King Kreepar kingpins, which means that I've got a decent amount of clearance there. And what we're talking about with kingpin clearance in general is that if you don't have inverted kingpins like this, usually the nut and the kingpin is up quite high and it gets in the way. So as you start to grind here, and this gets ground down, you start to actually grind the kingpin and it kind of gets in the way and it catches on things, gets really annoying. And that's why I change out my kingpins usually, to bring that kingpin down much lower than the top of the truck, and then it doesn't get in the way and everything's all right. But yeah, I kind of had an opportunity to try some Slappies. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch out the indies for Slappies. So they have just arrived, and let's have a look. Right, there we go. So I went for the anodized blue base plates because that kind of electric blue is my favorite color. And as you can see, there is a decent amount of clearance. This is with the kingpin nut is undone. These are hollow, I think they're called hollow lights. Does it say on there? Yeah, ST1 hollow lights, and they are 8.5, which is the equivalent of the independent 149s. They got a hollow kingpin, hollow axle, but yeah, I really like the blue anodized base plates and this perfectly round axle looks kind of interesting. They do have a similar appearance to Ace trucks. So those of you that know Ace trucks, again, I think they are loosely designed on independence, so there's a theme there. But yeah, I'm really keen to try these out. And the other reason that I want to change them and try these out, I've recently learned how to do Smith grinds, and hopefully you can see here the wear mark here of that piece there. That's worn by doing Smith grinds, and it's wearing a new edge there, and it's worn this whole piece there. And actually doing the Smith grinds, a lot of the time I'm actually on the kingpin here. So again, I'm kind of steel on steel. Strangely, when a Smith grind catches on the steel of this kingpin, it takes off like a rocket. So that's a little bit scary as well. So usually I just push through it, but I had the opportunity to try the trucks, and so I want to see if it makes a difference. I'm going to keep the stock bushes on these to start with. I usually change out for the bones hard bushes, and they have like a conical bottom and top on them, whereas these ones have a cylindrical bottom and a conical top. Now, although these aren't inverted kingpins, there looks like a lot of clearance, so that's what I'm testing out to see how it goes. And they will at least be good until perhaps they get a little bit worn in. Apparently very soon there are some ultra low inverted kingpins coming out for Slappy trucks, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to modify these or whether I have to get a different set or not. But I think by the time I've tried these out, I'll know whether I want to pursue the Slappies or go back to my indies. So yeah, big experiment. Looks like it'll be fun anyway. And at the very least, you know, brand new trucks, I think they're going to grind like super well to start with until they start to kind of get worn in. That's in a strange way what I'm looking for, at least to begin with. So I'm keen to try them out. I'm going to stick them on the board, and let's go skate. Right, first go. Fresh, wish me luck. Bit looser. Little marks on the trucks, but I need to skate properly now to see what happens. All right. Well, you didn't see that, but I just shot out big style on a 50/50 because they're brand new and there's loads of wax. they do feel like indies, which is good. Right, so that didn't go too badly. It was nice to have new trucks, and as I suspected with the new trucks, that meant that they were grinding a lot easier, a lot smoother. So that plan worked out pretty well. I couldn't use the stock bushings, they were just too soft, and before I'd even skated the board, when I put them on the deck and just stood on them, even though I tightened them down quite hard, they were still too loose for me. They were like really, really loose, and That's probably fine for street skaters, but I like mine tighter with more movement for transition skating, because I still get, you know, even though I tighten down my Bones hard bushings, I tighten them down quite hard. Because they're hard bushings, they still turn a long way, but they aren't so twitchy, and that's a big factor for me riding transitions, especially big transitions like vert ramps. I hate speed wobbles, and if they are softer, looser, they just speed wobble all of the time, and that's really frightening. So that's why I use the Bones hard bushings. The conical bottom bushing means that they continue to turn, even though they're tightened, they continue to turn quite a long way. So I can turn all the way down to the point where I'm almost got wheel bite, very almost, and I can just about squeeze the end of my finger in the gap that's there. If I put my full body weight on it, I could probably force it into a wheel bite, but I never wheel bite with that setup, and so that's fine for me. And I use 60mm wheels, and that's usually just fine. So that's why the Bones conical hard bushings work out for me really well. So yeah, I couldn't use the Slappy bushings. They do sell hard bushings, and I might try some of those just to see what that's like. But to be honest, I'm really happy with my Bones bushings for now, and have been for quite some time. But yes, it's true, they do ride just like indies, so they just felt natural, perfectly fine, didn't have to adjust myself in any way. As you saw at the very beginning, it took a little bit of time to get the tightness just right, and I tightened them down to what I thought was right by standing on the deck at home. But once I started to ride it, I could feel that they were just too tight, so I had to loosen them off a couple of times, and they felt great when I just dialed it in just right. And as you saw, the first couple of grinds, you know, I just completely shot out because they were so slick, and the coping on that bowl is all waxed. And so as I went around the corner, the kind of, I don't know, the centrifugal force of whipping around the corner, I actually sped up, and then it kind of shot out. So it took a couple of goes to get used to that. And really very quickly they started to wear in. And so now I'll show you some pictures now. I mean, I've ridden them like for a week, maybe 3 sessions, and they are beginning to sort of wear in nicely. There are flat spots along the top. There is a angled edge where I've been doing my Smith grinds, and even it's kind of worn onto the kind of bulge of the hanger where the bushings go, and even the nut on the kingpin has started to wear. So I am going to need those inverted kingpins before very long. So there you go. All in all, a very positive experience so far, and I'll keep updating you if anything changes like that. I was glad to be able to get my tricks that I've been working on, learning it, etc. And the eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed a new learn. I'm going to do a video about that. Write in the comments below if you know what that was. And yeah, that's it really. A very positive experience, and I actually really didn't mind changing my trucks. It wasn't as frightening as it may have been. So anyway, I hope you found the video interesting. Maybe you tried out the Slappy trucks. Let me know if you have and what you think of them. And until next time, thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care.